Hi, we're just going to start in a moment. So I can see there's a couple of you have arrived. So what I've done is I've just put a slide up here. We were going to use Slido just to find out a little bit about your context. So if you can go to Slido, that would be really cool. So you go to, if you just Google Slido, and it will ask you for a code for our session. And if you put in CIPD Accredited, then it's going to give us a chance and we can just find out a little bit more about what your role is or what you're interested in. So so we're going to start formally in a second, but if you want to go to Slido and get ahead of the game and put some information in there, that would be very cool. So thanks. Hi there. We're just going to give it a minute just to allow folks to come in. We've got 3 of you already in. So I'm Andy Lancaster, Head of Learning at CIPD. So I want to welcome you to this session when we're going to be looking at our new accredited programs. But just to say, I've put on the slides here, we've got a Slido running here where we can just get a bit of interaction from you if you're able to do that. So if you just go on your web browser on your mobile phone and you go to Slido, they will ask you for a hashtag to join our event, and if you just put in CIPD Accredited, it will just allow you to interact with us. So again, we'll just give you a moment on that one. I can see some responses are coming in, so that's great. So welcome to all of you who are just joining. We'll just give it a minute or so just to see who else is going to join, but we'll yeah, do interact with us. That'd be really, really cool. So those are just joining, we're going to use Slido during the session just to get a bit of interaction with you. So again, if you just go to, you open a browser up and you put Slido in, and then if you use the hashtag CIPD Accredited, we've got a session running in there where we can have some interaction with you. So that's cool. So just having a look here. So welcome to Alice, Dorothy, Joanna, Lesha, Louise, and Cherise. That's brilliant to have you here. Really appreciate you coming. So there's some others coming in as well, Louise and Matt. So a few people just arriving. I'm going to give it a second because if your life is anything like mine, you have these back-to-back meetings now with teams or whatever, and you literally go from one meeting to another. So actually, sometimes getting in on the dot of the hour is sometimes a bit tricky. So we'll just give it a second. There's some other folks coming in. Wendy, great to see you. Welcome to the session. Colin, again, welcome as well. Good to have you with us. So I can now see some of the role titles are coming in. Those of you just joining, just saying, we're just going to run we've got a Slido running here. So if you go to a web browser on your mobile phone and you just type in Slido and you put in CIPD Accredited as the hashtag for this session, and we can just get a bit of interaction with you. So what I'm asking right now is what's your job role? It would just be interesting just to see what role you're based in. So I'll give it about 30 seconds and then I'll start the actual session. And just to say that the session is being recorded. I've got the record button on. Sometimes folks can't make the sessions, and it's really good for us to be able to offer it to them. So just be aware of that. We won't be opening your cameras or mics up, but obviously if you're using the chat at any point, just be aware that the session is being recorded for those who can't make this particular session. Okay, so I'm going to make a start because we've got 45 minutes and we've got quite a lot of information to give you, all great information, but we obviously want to make sure that we finish on time. So I'm Andy Lancaster, I'm Head of Learning at CIPD. So really great to spend some time with you. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to find out a little bit more about our new accredited programs, which we've just launched. And I'm also joined by Mark Abiayad from our Employer Solutions team, who's going to talk a little bit later on around if maybe you want to think about having groups of people going through these particular programs. We'll talk a little bit about how we might be able to run those for you in organizations. So just to say, we've got folks here, we've got a client experience manager, we've got someone who's involved in competence assurance, we've got an HR manager, an L&D manager, we've got an HE manager and employer solutions manager. So just to say welcome to all of you, whatever roles you're involved with, and hopefully this will be really informative and really useful to you in understanding a little bit about where we're going with our new accredited programs. So just to say, as an opener, the team, we've been developing these accredited programs to sit alongside our qualifications, and I'm going to explain in detail how they differ, because that's a really important fact for all of us. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some of the programs we've developed. I'm going to show you some of the thinking behind those, what kind of content's involved, and what it will actually take to successfully complete these programs. But I want to start off by saying why we think these programs are really important is they're based on our solid foundation of being principles-led, evidence-based, and outcome-driven. So when we think about designing programs at CIPD now, it's really important that this is in the context of work, people, and professionalism really matters. And we know with COVID, things have changed massively over the last few months. So what we're doing is creating programs in a way which really addresses where the workplace is at the moment. And it's really important for us that these programs are evidence-based. So if you do come on one of these programs, or you're going to enroll staff on these, you'll be getting the latest research, the latest evidence, the latest data in the various areas where we're delivering accredited programs. So you can guarantee that they're really up to date. And perhaps most importantly, is they are going to drive outcomes. These are not knowledge-based theoretical programs. These programs have been designed by CIPD to really support practice. So if you come on one of the accredited programs, it will be very practice-focused, things from day one which you can start implementing in your particular context. So that's the foundation we've put, which the programs are actually based around. And in that sense, we now want to be your people practice career partner. There are many options, places where you can go for professional development, and there are great things available. But in terms of where we would sit as an institute, we now want to provide a progression right the way from the earliest stages of someone's career in people practice, right the way through to strategic leaders. And these accredited programs are a key part of that ecosystem of us partnering with you and with your teams to help people to be really brilliant at what they do. And to that end, what we've done is we've developed a progression of products, which you can see here. And I'm not going to go into huge detail around these, but you can see now we have 5 main product groups, which we provide in terms of supporting professional development. And these start with our essential insights. So these are now completely online, asynchronous. You can study them yourselves, about 60 minutes around a given topic. We then move on to our introductory programs, which are the equivalent of a kind of a one-dayer, and again, these are fully online now, and you can access these asynchronously. So in these particular programs, these particular products, these are individual programs that you're going through on your own. We then have our development programs, which is where we operate as groups, and we would invite you to be part of a professional group. And these are the equivalent of 2 to 3 day courses, which are either run face-to-face or online. So in that sense, you're working with a group of people. And then that leads to our accredited programs. Now, the accredited programs, which we're going to focus on today, are really in a specialist area of professional practice. And again, they're studied online deliberately to make them as accessible as possible, and you're able to access them from either from a smartphone or wherever, and you actually access these asynchronously on your own, although we'll talk in a minute about you may have a group of people you want to be involved with. So that's the accredited programs. And lastly, we then have our master classes, which are our strategic programs where we gather people together for a day to talk around a given theme. So that's our kind of ecosystem of products. And today what we're going to be looking at is the place of these brand new accredited programs, what they're all about, and what they will provide for you as a professional or for the people who you're responsible for. So accredited route to people practice specialisms. Whilst we know many people do qualifications, and I've done various qualifications at various stages of my career, we know that qualifications provide a certified route, but there are many folks who don't necessarily want to do a qualification, or a qualification is not appropriate for them. And often a qualification is at a very specific point in career. It might be when you're changing roles, or it might be when you're starting out. So we recognize as an institute that qualifications are important, but we've had lots of feedback from our members and from our customers that they're also looking for accredited programs in particular areas of the CIPD profession map, particular areas of people practice. And that's, we've responded to the market by creating these accredited programs. I'll explain the differences in a moment. So they provide an accredited program, but not a qualification. That's an important distinction. So these new accredited programs, who are they aimed at? Well, they're aimed at existing practitioners who want to sharpen their practice and thinking. So it could even be someone like myself who's head of learning at CIPD, but maybe people analytics is an area where I want to now sharpen my practice, so, where people want to get the latest research and thinking. We also know that these are really appropriate for generalists who want to deep dive in a particular product. So it might be that you've got an HR business partner or a learning manager who wants to get very specific in a given area. So it could be employee experience, or it could be business partnering, or whatever. We know that many folks who interface with us as an institute have some existing knowledge and practice, but also want to have some accreditation for that. So these programs really allow you to get literally a digital certificate, badge, or stamp to show your competence in a given area. And in that sense, they may be really appropriate for people at career stages where the qualifications route is just not appropriate. So that's the kind of where we've designed these programs. Practitioners who want to get sharper at their skills, they want to get an official kind of stamp from the institute around a given area of practice. And to be successful, there are some criteria around this. We don't have a formal interview process, or obviously, because these are scalable programs globally. But here are some of the bullet points you can see if you want to be successful in completing one of these programs. So you do need to be working in a professional practice area. These are highly practical, so it's quite tricky to do these if you're not working in a professional area. Now, we're well aware that people might be in job transitions, so you can draw upon your previous role, but you do need to be a practitioner. And you also need to be able to write a reflective assessment on how you can apply the learning which you've got. So the actual assessment, which I'll cover in a moment, it's really practically applied. So you need to be able to think in your context or your previous context how you'd use that learning. You need to have access to our online learning hub. So all of this is delivered now online via the CIPD Learning Hub. So obviously you need to have online access, and also you need to have a level of English language, which we've put there. Now, it's a competent user of English language. Now, these are obviously global programs now, so we do have to have that. We don't require people to present certificates around their level of English language, but we do need to recognize that folks will be studying in English. And also, there's a 12-month deadline. So if you do register for the program, you've got a year to get that done. We know that's more than realistic. And also, if you have particular learning needs in terms of reasonable adjustments, you let us know as well so that we can support you to be successful. So these programs, as I said, are as wide as possible. We're aiming for as many people as possible to be able to access these globally. Now, they are linked to the profession map. Some of you may be very familiar with our profession map, and what we've started in terms of developing these products is really looking at our specialist areas, which you can see on the slide here. So these are particular areas of specialist practice, which we call out on our profession map. And you can see there, the ones with the green dots are ones which we have already developed and which are already available. And the ones in orange dots are the ones which we're working on right now. So you can see there are existing programs which link to employee experience, L&D, people analytics, business partnering, and people management. Those are areas where we already have a program which is live and available. And right now we're developing 3 in organizational design and development, recruitment and resourcing, and strategic workforce planning. So these programs are very linked to the profession map. Everything that you'll study on these links very much to the profession map. And on that profession map, what we've done, if you ask what level, people often ask us now, are these the equivalent of a level 3, 5, or 7? Well, that's qualifications language. So in a sense, we're not using level 3, 5, and 7 as with quals. What we're doing is we're matching these to the criteria on the profession map. So you can see here that these programs are mapped against charter member level. So that's where we're looking at in terms of the knowledge, and the practical application is at chartered member level. It means if you're not at chartered member level, that's not a problem. If you're at more associate level, this could be a development route towards that. But that's how we've designed the programs, and that's how they've stacked up in terms of the level of thinking that they are. So how are they different from qualifications? This is really important, and we get asked this a lot. It's a really important point. So the first time is you can learn these anytime, anywhere. Often qualifications are linked to a particular center. It may be online, but often it's a very, very structured program. These are available to you literally on your smart device. You can, whenever you want to learn, these are there for you. So it's really flexible in terms of how you can access the programs, and it equates to around 50 to 70 hours learning. So that's roughly half of what a qualification, just under half of what a qualification would be. So our estimations are, if you maybe did 2 to 4 hours a week on these programs, you'd easily be completed in 6 months. So about 50 to 70 hours learning. The assessment is all done online. We have online assessors will be working with you, so you don't need to be going into a center to do tests or exams or anything like this. It's an online reflective assessment. And whilst at the minute they don't provide a direct route to membership as a qualification would, what we are doing is recognizing them as part of experience assessment. So if you are looking to come to CIPD membership, it may be that you can use this as part of your experience assessment evidence in terms of getting membership level. So just a little bit about the program design principles. We have a learning philosophy at CIPD, which is very much now around self-directed learning and empowering you with your own technology to learn now. So these are self-directed learning delivered digitally via our Learning Hub. So as I said, this is to provide you with the maximum flexibility in doing this learning. And one distinct difference is we don't have learning outcomes, as is the case with the qualification, but we have practice outcomes. So these are highly practical programs. So at the end of each unit, each module, it will tell you what you will be able to do in terms of your practice and how that will change how you're working in your people area. These are all designed by subject matter experts. We've got top people who've been designing them. So again, you've got the really top thinkers who have put the content together. And it will be a mix of video, audio, animation, interactive activity. So it's not just watching videos. We know there's lots of video-based programs on, that are available now on the internet, but you'll get a number of interactive media options here, which we've got, and you can take your own notes, which you can download as well. And we also have the option for companies who want to take a number of people through, and we already have that happening, and we'll talk about this in a moment, the chance to provide you with contextualization sessions where whilst the program will be a standard online accredited program, you have got the chance to run maybe some webinars or some face-to-face sessions where you can talk about what the program means for you in your particular context. One of the big questions we get is how do we assess these? So in terms of the assessments, every module you do has a module check-in, and these are equivalent to, on a qualification, what you'd call a formative assessment. So we don't mark these, but they allow you to check your knowledge, to think about the content you've done, and to actually do some work online. Those then lead to a final assessment, which is what we've called an evaluative review. So it's a 2,500 to 3,000 word submission. But what it is, it's not a theoretical essay, and we provide you with a really clear template for this. What we do is we ask you to talk through how you can use the content and your knowledge and what you've learned on the program to really improve things in your context. So when it's called an evaluative review, we get you to evaluate what you're currently doing and how the program will help you improve your practice. And these will be marked by experienced CIPD assessors who are already lined up and waiting to assess you. So it's a written Word document which you submit online to us. So just to, at that point, I'm just going to have a quick look in the chat. Anybody, the chat's there. If you want to just ask a question, the chat's available to you there if there's any questions. So I'm just going to take a glug of water at this point because I've spoken for a few minutes now. Any questions that you've got, do put them in the chat and we'll obviously cover those off. So these are the programs which are now live. So we have accredited programs in business partnering, employee experience, people analytics, learning and development, and people management. So these are available right now for you to go on the CIPD shop and to buy these directly, or to talk to us if you're thinking about taking a group through these. Now, if you go onto the CIPD website, onto the shop, there's lots of details around these, but I just wanted to give you a very, very quick overview of what the programs involve. So business partnering, what I've done, you'll see on the slides here, I've got some screen grabs from the program, so you can see here as I go through these overviews, you can get an idea of what they look like, and I'll probably just show you the hub in a second as well. So in the business partnering accredited program, we talk about business partnering as an overall concept. We talk about how that works in organizational contexts. We talk about how do you gather insights and data in terms of informing what you're doing within the organization and how you're driving people practice forward. We look at the whole thing about influencing, not only in terms of peers, but senior managers. And we also look at some very specific areas of business partnering practice. So the business partnering accredited program, we used to run face-to-face versions of this. What we've done is now taken this and really distilled this down into an online program where you can go through all of this content and then talk a little bit about and how you would want to apply that in your particular context. So, excuse me. So we think this will be a hugely popular program, and we've been asked for an accredited program in business partnering for many years. So this is our option to do that. We also have a brand new program on employee experience. This is now thinking about how do we improve employee engagement. So again, we've got a specific program which has been written by Emma Bridger there, which you can see. And we look at the thing, how do we now move from just thinking about employee engagement and the surveys to really driving the employee experience, shaping a culture which is really conducive to great employee experiences. We look about some practicalities about how do you build a great employee experience program, how you measure that and bring that all together with a new employee experience strategy. So again, we already have a couple of large organizations who are putting whole numbers of people through to think about their employee experience and how they're going to develop that. One on people analytics, this is a very important area which we all need to think through. So we have an accredited program, people analytics, which is just launched, and this is a practical program, but for many people this is a very new area. So we look at the whole things about how do we use analytics. We think about the influence of bias. We show you how to use data and statistical models. We look at how to present data in a really interesting way, a really engaging way to peers, to colleagues, to senior managers. And we also give you some very practical tools of the trade about how to use analytics. So again, a very straightforward program there, but it will really increase your capability around people analytics. We've also got a learning and development accredited program. Now there are specific learning and development quals, but what we've done is we've created a very practice-based program here, and you can see some things we look there: learning culture. We think about how do you deliver and design in digital, in face-to-face facilitation. We look at coaching and mentoring strategies, how to build social collaborative learning. So again, this L&D program is highly practical and is designed at L&D practitioners, but also HR professionals who are responsible for learning in their organizations. And we have a people management accredited program, which is really designed at line managers. Now, obviously, it would be appropriate for HR professionals, people professionals to do this, but we've designed a product because we know many HR teams come to us and say that line managers need some support in their people practice. So this is specifically aimed at line managers and looks at a really broad but really interesting application of people management practice across the whole range of areas, be that workforce planning, performance management, how to run a really inclusive team, all those kind of things. And again, this one is already in operation. We've got quite a few organizations who are using this as a means to really support their line managers. And coming soon, we're just working on, very soon, we're going to release the accredited program in organizational design and development. And a little bit mid-year, we've got a program on strategic workforce planning, which we're just building at the minute. So that will take us to 7 accredited programs, which are available. So in the poll, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go over to Slido, and I'm just going to allow you to go in and if you're logged on Slido, so again, just a note on Slido, you go into your browser or on your mobile phone and just type Slido in, and you can enter the hashtag, which is CIPD accredited. And what I've done is I've just made a question there live to say, of the accredited programs which are currently available or due to be coming soon, which ones are of most interest to you? So if you're on the system now, this is totally anonymous, so we're not committing you to buy anything at this point. It would just be interesting to know which ones, and you can multiple choose on these as well. So I'm just going to put in, because I'm actually going to go on the people analytics one, so I can see the votes coming in now. So that's really cool. So what I'll do is I'll just share my screen and you can have a look. Let's just do a share my screen and you can have a look at what's coming in. So let's share here. So you can see here let me just move that out of the way. So, whoa, quite a lot of you are interested in people analytics and OD. Yeah, we've always sensed that OD is going to be a really important one for us. So we've got some on business partnering, people management. So keep voting away, folks, on the one. So you can see for this particular group, the ones which are obviously capturing most people's imagination are people analytics. Yeah, big time people analytics. We think this is going to be really important. There's something, and the program is written generically, so it doesn't matter if you're an HR business partner, if you're in learning and development. It's a generic program around analytics. So for you guys, analytics and OD are the ones which seem most important to you. So that's really interesting. There's a number who are looking at the L&D one, obviously, which is my background as well. Yeah, so some of you are interested in all. So again, it's good to see. That's a really helpful. So thanks for your responses on that one. It's really helpful for us to understand exactly what you're doing. So obviously for this group, people analytics is really important. So just to say before we have a quick chat about how we might deliver these to you in terms of groups, all of these are delivered via the CIPD Learning Hub. So this is really important. This is our new online learning system, and I haven't got time to go through in great detail, but I thought I would just show you the Learning Hub. So I'm just going to share that with you now. So this is the CIPD Learning Hub. If you're a CIPD member, you actually get the Learning Hub as part of your membership now, which is very cool. So not only do you have access to content on here, but you can see as well that there's the opportunity to create your own learning plans. You can do a self-assessment against the profession map. And the thing which I love, I'm speaking at Learning Technologies Conference in about 10 days time. I'm going to be talking about our new CPD reflections tool. It allows you actually to journal and to gather information about the various professional development things that you're doing. Could be reading a book or going to a conference. So all of this is a key part of what we now provide. And if you look on my on my system here, you can see mine's a bit messy because I've got all sorts of development stuff going on. But if I go into the accredited program for learning and development, again, just gives you an idea of what what it looks like. So you can see that you have tiles there with all your particular modules in there. So if I just go into creating effective learning, you can get an idea here that just showing you the navigation, you have your modules down the side, and you can see that it's easy, and it's all mobile enabled. So this all works really well on your mobile phone, on a tablet. So you can see as we scroll down here, there's a whole mix of things. So you can see on this one here, initially there's a podcast to listen to. There's all sorts of activities, there's clickables you can do. So again, I just want to stress that we've designed these not just to be like watching video after video after video, but these are designed to really bring it all together. And what we do for each of these programs as well is we have a case study. So the whole program revolves around a case study. So as well as thinking about your own context, what we do is we provide you in the case, this in the L&D one, it's a clothing company. In the people management one, we've got a retail bank. And what we do is we introduce you to the company. And at the end of every module, there's some really practical things to think about to explore your learning. So you can see here, if I go through here, you can see this is company doing really well. So again, I just want to show you just the kind of look and feel of this. So you get an idea. Really, we've got a very creative team who've been putting this all together. So again, all of these case studies at the end of each module, you do a check-in to see how you've got on with your learning. So if you're already a CIPD member, you can already get in and have a look at the Learning Hub, but all of this is delivered to you, all the accredited programs, you can see them here, people analytics, they're already on my system here. So once you enroll on these tiles will be dropped onto your particular profile, and then you get a year to actually go through and complete the program. So we're really proud of that. Just so you know, we've probably got about 18,000 people currently on the Learning Hub, which is really cool. So again, just gives you a little bit of an idea how we deliver this, really creative, really interactive. So whilst it's asynchronous on your own, there's lots of really good stuff there. And just to say as well, once you finish the program, you get a really smart certificate. So this is an example of the certificate you get. So you get a certificate which talks about which program you've done. It gives a little bit of a description around the program, what you've done, and you can take that one away. We're also currently looking at digital badging as well. So we'll very soon be able to give you a digital badge for your program. And also, as well as finishing the program, we then invite you to join us in a closed community of people who've been on the program, which we think adds loads of value. So that's free. So if you complete the program, that's the baseline to join a community, for instance, in people analytics or community in business partnering, where our experts will come in and we'll have a quarterly webinar where you can join that free of charge, and there's ongoing discussions and curated content. So there's like an added bonus there. It's not just about doing the program. You get to join us in our communities there, where we can share all sorts of fun stuff with you, really ongoing. So the reason we've gated this one is everybody then coming into this community will have completed the program, so we'll have a really common knowledge base, which we think is a really great place for a community to be based on. And it's an opportunity to grow, to join this global community. These accredited programs are absolutely global. This is not a UK product, so we're going to be looking over the coming months and years to grow learning communities around each of these areas, which we think will be really exciting. Now, I'm just going to, as I said, put some stuff in the chat if you've got any questions. But often the question we get asked is, okay, if it's Andy, that's fine. I want to go on and I want to do people analytics myself, and I genuinely do want to do the people analytics program, even though I've been involved with putting that together. But we often get asked, what happens if we have an organization where we have a group of HR business partners who want to go through together? Now, we've absolutely thought that in the design process, and I'd like to welcome Mark from our Employer Solutions team. So I'm going to stop and have a bit of a glug of water here, Mark. But just if people are asking, how can we maybe maximize these in an individual organization to take groups? What are the sorts of options we've got? So I'll just mute up. Over to you, Mark. Maybe if you want to just shout, if I'll click and move the slides on at the appropriate point. So yeah, how do we work these in terms of a business or an organization take groups through?
Sure. If you just give me the next slide there, please, Andy. So hello, everyone. We have a 5-stage approach to partnering with organizations, where we go from defining up to sustaining. At the define stage, we outline what a great people practice looks like in context with their organization, and that's informed on our depth of research and the profession map, all the way through to sustaining, and that could be through maintaining skills and everything in between, from getting into membership or diagnosing and building capability as well. Now, Andy mentioned earlier specifically about the accredited programs, the contextualization sessions that we can build in. And these are a great way really to elevate the experience from a self-directed learning journey into a collaborative learning experience. So as everyone's so interested in the people analytics, if we take that as an example, participants can opt to complete the modules in any order once they're enrolled on the program. But if we work with your organization, we can set a set of agreements. So, for example, everyone completes modules 1 and 2, which are, I think, adding people analytics to your practice, why and why now, and analytics in action by a set date. We'll then work in partnership with you and our experts to build in and facilitate live sessions, either online or face-to-face. And we can then bring that learning to life in the context of your organization. And this is achieved through things like relevant examples from the organization or industry, and facilitated discussions, as well as experience sharing exercise. And we would offer that for any group of 5 or more who are undertaking the same program. In addition to that, as well, we're able to provide some data reports so that your organization can track usage and ultimately the ROI. Andy.
Yeah, I'm back again. So Mark, yeah, in the context of this, I mean, we can't mention particular organisations. We've got some organisations doing that.
Sure.
How would you diagnose the specifics? So let's think of maybe a government department or something other like that who are undertaking people analytics. Just give an idea of how you and the team would go in and work out how we can wrap around some really contextual stuff. So how does that process work, in a very practical way?
So when we're diagnosing, we're really helping an organisation benchmark their current capability, and so we've got a range of assessment tools, either the HR diagnostic tool, the HRDT, or the PI tool, and we've got those 360 assessments that the individual can self-assess. We can have their peers assess them as well, and then we can map that further in terms of industry as well, because the depth of our research and scope.
And we know as well, so what we're already seeing in working with a number of organizations now, there's actually some common stuff coming out. Is it? So for instance, on business partnering, we know that influencing senior leaders is often a very common one. So whilst we can contextualize this, we're beginning to already see common themes coming out, which will have sessions available. So if you are interested in taking a group through, we also can advise you what other organizations are wrapping around their accredited programs to make them really appropriate.
Right.
Yeah. So that's cool. So that's, I guess that's just a very quick, Mark, thanks for coming on. But we wanted to stress to you that whilst these are asynchronous, self-directed learning, they've absolutely been designed that we can work with organizations to put any number of business partners through. And already that process is already in place, where whilst people might be studying on their own, we're building in great support that we can take a whole people team through to have some discussion points, to have some team days where they can really contextualize that. So I'm conscious we're at 12:38. This was always going to be an information session, so I'm really, in some way, I don't apologize for talking a lot, because what we want to do is to give you all the information. So that's really what we wanted to do. Now, you can either, if you've got any questions, you can either put them in the chat here, or I've just lived up on Slido. If you wanted to answer a question anonymously, that's absolutely fine. You can either type, and I'll keep an eye on those there. But just to kind of round off before we just do questions, actually let's do questions now. Anything which has kind of grabbed your attention, or anything which I can clarify a little bit more, do either enter that in the chat or stick that onto Slido, and we can answer those. I'm going to go through how you sign up and prices just before we finish, but it's probably better that we just answer any questions before we start talking about some of those very practical details. So any questions that you've got, get typing in the chat window, or any comments even would be good as well. I mean, for us, we've spent now 18 months developing these. These were always on our roadmap, but we're very, very pleased now that we've got these live now alongside our qualifications, that you've got these great accredited programs with great digital certification, which people can use now to push their careers forward. So I'm just going to give it a second just to see if anything comes in on the chat. Nothing in on Slido yet. So any questions that you've got? If not, I'll just kind of round off. Maybe the fact there's no questions, maybe hopefully then what we've covered in the session will be of real help to you. And obviously we're recording the session as well, so you can have access to recording. Okay, I'm just going to press on. So just to kind of round off, this is what you can do for next steps. We have some really detailed fact sheets about all these accredited programs. You remember earlier on I did a quick overview about what each of the programs are. We've got brilliant fact sheets. They're about 3 pages, PDFs, which go into real detail about each module, each program, each module, what we cover, the practice outcomes, how we're going to assess it, all those kind of things. So the very least you can do, we can provide you from our marketing team with those fact sheets for you to be able to access. The cost of these are currently $1,765. Now, that's obviously is much cheaper than a qualification, but there is a cost involved with this, because we have live assessments for you. We have a lot of things we have to do behind the scenes. If you enroll the program, we have to enroll you on the system. So there's quite a lot of backroom stuff we have to do around these, let alone all the brilliant content you've got. Now, CIPD members, if you remember, you currently get a 15% discount, which is really cool. And if you were buying on behalf of an organization, we absolutely do discounts for volumes. What we're currently offering until the 31st of May is also a 10% discount for those who might be interested. So again, if it's you or someone you know, again, there is a discount code available there, app10, which allows you to get a discount from that. So the way to go, if you want to have a look at the shop. So if you just Google CIPD shop, it will take you to our shop where all of the accredited programs are listed there. Or if you want to, our marketing team, as I said, we can contact you and the guys will do that to give you a chance to get one of those fact sheets which give you all of that information. So I think that's just about it, really. Got 3 or 4 minutes to go. So again, if you've got any questions, you can ask there. But just to say, we are incredibly excited about these programs. The team's been working really hard. As I said, we've been thinking about doing this for a couple of years now. So for us now to have these products in the market, which are, and it's been a joy working with the experts. We've got real experts around this who've been helping us to develop these programs, and these will be the experts who will then be in the communities. So you can guarantee that the content is really cutting edge, evidence-based, principles-led, outcomes-driven. That's how we've designed those programs. So that's just about it. Thank you out of your busy schedule for taking 40 minutes. I hope that's been interesting and informative for you. As I said, we anticipate thousands of people are going to be coming on these programs in the next few years, and it may be that you're going to be one of those early adopters who are going to get in early. So thank you for taking some time. As I said, we recorded the session, but we hope that's just given you that helpful overview about what the program is about. So 50 to 70 hours, self-serve, online, not just videos, great creative learning, check-ins at the end of each module, and then at the end of it, we get you to write an evaluative review as to how that learning can help in your context. So it's totally doable, and you'll have a great assessor who will work with you to get you through. And then at the end of it, you're just going to get a really smart digital certificate from CIPD to say that you have now completed your accredited program, and a digital badge as well. So that's it. I'm going to stop there. I will hang around, but that's the session kind of finished. Colin, thank you for that. It's always a bit. I'm sitting in the box room upstairs at home at the minute, so you never quite know if it's hitting the mark. So, Colin, thank you for that. Really helpful presentation. That's really good, laid out well. So, I had a look at the CIPD reflections section. That'll be helpful too. So, yeah, Colin's just sent me a message on that one. I just noticed that's probably. But, Colin, thank you for the feedback on that one. Glad the session has been really useful for you. And the CIPD Learning Hub. God, this is just going to be a game changer for all of us. There's so much good stuff available on there. So again, thank you. Thanks again, those of you putting in the chat there to me. Thanks for saying that was interesting. I'll leave you now to the rest of your day, and we will follow up. But if there's anything we can help on, just get in contact with us. And again, we hope to see you on one of the accredited programs or your teams very soon. Thanks, then. That's it for now.
Yeah, nice one. I think that's just me and you. Yeah, good stuff, Andy.
Yep. I think we're in. Yeah, thanks, Mark. That's great. I mean, I think we're, just whetting appetites and
Yeah,
that information.
I noticed a couple of I noticed there were a couple of questions. Well, I typed one on Slido.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but it came in the poll. That's the thing, because I typed a question just to sort of get it started, and then I noticed I put it in the poll. So somebody asked if you've qualified at level 5 in LMD and are working on the L7.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, no, yeah, good call.
You sort of covered it, didn't you? But
yeah, no, that's fine. That's cool. Yeah, that one probably just came through. So we can purchase a program on CIPD website. We covered that one. Is it right? Chart? Yeah, good call, Mark. Yeah, I missed that one. My bad on that one.
No, it was actually it didn't even come through the Q&A. I copied and pasted it from the poll. It was in a different area altogether.
Right.
So you wouldn't have had it flagged. So
no worries at all. That's fine.
Yeah,
look, as ever, thanks, mate. I'm really appreciate it. I think the more we do this, I think we may well want to do these kind of things for some of our key clients at some point as well. I mean, obviously we're already talking to some of those. I think we can, in half an hour, we can give them a good overview of where it's going. So really appreciate your help today on that one. Thanks for your help.
Anytime, Andy. It's always a pleasure. Yeah. All right. I'll speak to you soon, mate.
While I'm on, I had a look at the playbook. I'll send you some feedback. Looking great, but I've just been chasing around a little bit, so I'll give you a shout on Teams on that one. But good job.
Yeah, cool. All right. Yeah, nice one. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thanks, then. Okay, bye for now.